So Alan Warnitz here, professional property investor and property coach. I want to talk to you about a potential that is available in terms of property investment, especially when you are starting and also when you are going to get your first property or second, and partnerships and how to make it work. So there are certain factors that one needs to take into account to make a property purchasing to work. It so happens that it's not possible, or it's very hard if you try to buy a property by yourself. It's always involved with other people, because there are times when you will not have enough money, because it's very rare to find a person who's got the cash and capital to buy a property cash. So if you don't have cash, how do you buy a property and how do you own it at the end? Basically, you go and borrow money. So before you can borrow money, you're going to borrow money from the banks and you're going to borrow money from an investor. You have to also provide to the bank and the investor the confidence that they feel you will pay back. If they feel you are not going to pay back based on your actions, based on your conduct, based on your bank account, based on how you conduct yourself in terms of purchasing and how you conduct yourself in repaying loans, let's say repaying a loan for a car or repaying a loan from a store, like you buy a clothing store, you buy things on account. That gets checked to see what is your conduct, to see that if they're going to lend you now a large amount of money for the house, are you the right person to pay that money back? So let me go a bit on some information here which I've been thinking of, and while in my dealings with property investors and coaching them, these are the things that I've come up with and have come across. So basically, this is you. So now, there's potential here. Potential means you can have access to it, you can reach it, you can go and get it. It's all there. There's no lack of opportunities here for you to find the right property. There's certain ways that you go and find other properties. If you go and watch my videos, I explain more detail how to go and find another property, what is the good one, etc., etc. So I'm not going to go into that, but basically I'm just saying properties are there, you can reach for them. Now the seller is willing to sell to you, the banks is willing to give you money when you want to borrow. However, what is your conduct? Your conduct means what actions will you take to get that? In other words, the outcome. What is the outcome that you want? The outcome that you want is you want to be owner of this property. You want that property to give you a certain amount of income, because I guess you're going to be going for rental income. So you get more income, then you get expenses. That's the first thing to do. So when you buy property, you have to do calculations, which I teach, and if you watch my videos and the course, I show how to do that. So first thing is your income has to be higher than your expenses, so there's a profit. So that profit you can live off, or you can put it back into the system to buy the next house. So eventually you'll have enough profit to pocket, and then you don't have to have a salary, because that profit is equal to your salary. Then you become financially free. In expenses, summarize, there's bond to pay, there's maintenance, there's always things that break, you have to fix. People have invested money, so you need to pay them back. You might put some money back into reserves. Maybe your profit at the beginning you put in reserves so that you can expand and buy more, or add more rental income to your property. So now, the main topic about today is about reality. Reality. In other words, what is it that you do in terms of actions to bring about the outcome? The outcome is the ownership of the thing. So it's always an outcome. Now, when you have a partner, you have to also know, what is the partner? What outcome does he want? He probably wants you to own the house as well, but he also has other things that he wants that you can contribute to. So it's outcomes. So now, some people will take a very short time to own a property, some people take a longer time. What's the difference? The difference is the actions that they do. So if the actions, it's not about actions which is right and wrong, it's about actions which, if you do, can make it delayed, can actually offset it, or can upset it, can break it up, or it goes faster. So when you have a partnership, these are the things you have to be open with your partner as to how would you like to proceed with the process? How would you like to do it? Maybe you've been taught in a certain way. Maybe there's an upbringing that you've been taught how to do things. Or maybe you don't know. So you just do whatever with knowledge that you have. Whereas your partner probably knows more. So you share those things. So you ask the partner, how would you proceed with getting this outcome? Which is a quick way of doing it. So it's always, and when you take an action, you always look for the outcome. Because an outcome comes only after you did some actions. So it's like playing chess. It's accountability. When you make a move in chess, when you move the pawn from one box to the next box or the next square, in the 10th move there's going to be consequences, or there's going to be outcomes. So you must be able to see the move. So the person who knows how to do this, who's owned properties, he knows the moves. So it will be to your advantage to find out from him what moves should we take, and you follow that. Then later on you can look back, and I say look back in the rearview mirrors, look at the moves, and you can understand, oh, that's why the moves were taken, so that you into the future you can move with that. So I'm going back to reality. What do you agree on? What can you agree on? What can you agree on the moves? And when you agree on a move, always work out what could be the outcome. Is it going to get you to the outcome? Is it faster? Maybe there's another move you can make which can make you to get the outcome faster. So these are the things you have discussions with your partners on, those things. So reality is, what do you agree on? So agree on something and then do it. So it's not like I know best or you know best and I'm going to do my way and you're going to do your way. That you're going to have clashes, you're going to have conflict. Because nobody has agreed that this is a good way of doing it, because nobody has observed the outcomes of it. So what steps to take, What's the reality of others? What steps would they take? Is it right or wrong? If it's wrong, why would it be wrong? Because maybe the outcome is not what is expected, or it will take longer, or it will crash the issues. Okay. So, what actions are involved here? There's actions in terms of production and staff. What do the staff do? What should they do? How long should it take? How much will they pay them? What is the skill of the staff? Administration, your paperwork. How do you present yourself to the banks? The banks want to see your admin. How do you conduct yourself with your bank account? Your finances, your costs, your savings. When you receive money, what do you do with that money? How do you spend that money? How do you save that money? Are you spending more than what you make? If you spend more than what you make, you're going to have trouble, and that will reflect in your conduct, and the banks will actually say, no, they're not going to lend you money because you're not managing your money properly. Sacrifice. What are you prepared to give up? Because if you're living comfortably now with what you have, let's say you don't have any houses and you're renting a house and you're comfortable, fine. Now you want a house. So you can't be in the same comfort as renting a house. Now there's going to be things you're going to have to sacrifice, because it's going to take a lot more time. You have to go borrow money. Where will you find it? If you go to the bank and it says, I'll only give you 80%. So if this house is R1 million and the bank says, I'm only going to give you 800,000. Where will you find that 200,000? How do you get that 200,000? Now there's renovations, it's probably going to be another 200,000. So you need to go and raise 400,000. Where do you find it? So maybe you've got 100,000 kept in you. So where do you find the other 300,000? You will go to an investor. So an investor will ask you, what steps are you going to take to pay me back? Or what benefit is he going to get out of it? You have to work out the benefit that the person who's lending you the money, giving you the opportunity to own this, what exchange will you give to him other than lending the money? Because the investor is not obligated to lend you money. He says he wants to lend you money because maybe you are going to give him a benefit out of the money that he lends you. Are you prepared to do this? Are you prepared to sacrifice your time? Sacrifice means, are you going to give up certain things? Certain things that you enjoy doing, or you're going to give up some hobbies only for that, for a short time. In other words, sacrifice now for later gain, so that you actually obtain that asset. Because once that asset is making the money and you're making a profit, and you've worked hard for the next 10 years, because this is a 10-year project, at least 10 years, 7 to 10 years, where you start seeing profit, where you start seeing that you're going to need less and less salary, because most of the profit is actually paying your salary now, is coming to equal to the salary. So you have to get out of the comfort zone. If you're not going to get out of comfort zone, then you will not gain that opportunity. So what are you going to sacrifice? What you might have to do is you might have to buckle up and also go and work. Go and dig, go and do some brickwork, go and do some electrical work, give your skills out and spend that time doing this. If there's transport to be done, use your car and transport materials. Do not go and pay 250 Rand to travel thing, because if you start adding up the 250 Rand at a time in transport, it can add up, and that money could be used for other things. So you've got a lot of saving to do there. So these are the efforts you have to put in to get that. So it's sacrifice. Sacrifice now for later gain. I hope I've given you a little bit of insight on what it takes in terms of mindset, where your mind should be, how you're going to conduct yourself with a partner, with a bank, with an investor, to be able to do these things. So main thing is to have reality. The reality is, what do you agree on? What steps do you agree that you're going to take? And discuss these steps and be very upfront about it. And you can say, this is what I believe is going to work. So the other person next to you will say, well, let's have a look at the steps. Does it give the outcome? Or I've done these steps before, I didn't get these outcomes, but I found a better way. Let's try and do this. Sometimes you do it, you look back in the rearview mirror, and you find, yes, it's worked, it's made it faster, it's made it quicker, and the time frame is shortened. So instead of you getting your assets within 10 years, you could shorten it to 5 years or 7 years. I don't know. It all depends on you, depends on the effort that you put in, and depends on you sacrificing and giving up your comfort zone. So you might as well give up your comfort zone for 5 to 7, 10 years, so that in 10 years' time, you are back in comfort zone because you have more assets. Otherwise, you'll be working for the next 30, 40, 50 years in comfort zone and never owning anything. And when you retire, your monies are going to be so low, less than what you had, so you're going to have to give up all the luxuries that you used to have because you have not acquired this. This is a 10-year thing versus 30, 40 years of owning nothing. Just a salary and just a comfort zone. The choice is yours. Thank you for listening. I hope this has helped. If you need more information, go to my website, go to my Facebook page, Alan Warner's Property Coach. I have a lot more information and videos that describes the details of those things.